should be going live here. All right, according to YouTube, we're live at least. The camera's just pointing in this general direction. Basically, I got the YouTube thing just to kind of get behind the scenes kind of thing, so we can see what it's like doing the show.
Okay.
I guess we might have 2 people watching already. All right, shout out to anybody who's watching. If you are, let me know in the comments who you are. And the others that are watching, we got about 11 minutes till the show starts. The purpose of this live stream is just to give you an inside look of how the process works. And maybe we'll catch something on the camera here, maybe an orb or something. The first time doing both YouTube and
11 minutes until showtime.
And for whatever reason, YouTube's using the built-in mic, but not this one. So I'm hoping this one's still working.
Okay.
If not, it's just using the internal one. But either way, it should pick us up. Now we're down to 0. They left already. That was short and sweet. We're not going to do much right now anyway until the show starts. But so I'll do sound. It could be this is using too much power, so it's not letting me use both. But let's try it out. We'll see what happens.
The device is going off.
Could be the microphone. Maybe not.
10 minutes until showtime.
It wasn't doing that earlier. It's definitely picking something up. Usually if you put it close to an electronic, it'll go off, but there's nothing right next to it. And I was on the camera watching. If you look, you can see the lights on it.
Yeah, no, that's what brought my attention. I saw those lights. It was the second one and the third one.
The third one is pretty significant. That means it's another EMF. Like, for example, if my phone was right next to it, it would go to the roof, but there's nothing there next to it right now.
9 minutes until showtime.
So that's interesting. All right, you will not be alone then.
I don't think we're ever alone.
Yeah, true.
But we don't always know.
We do not.
Somebody here? If you can make contact, say yes, please.
Still,
8 minutes until showtime.
That is interesting. Because even the mic, the mic is good enough readings now, but still, it's not that close to it. Unless it's just close enough. Yeah, it could be the mic actually doing it then. A lot of these things, you got to debunk them. You don't want to just assume. But in any case, that's interesting.
Can you give me a name? You one of my guides or Ricky's?
Seven minutes until showtime.
I'm not hearing anything.
Like you said, though, how quiet it's been. Maybe if anybody hears any EVPs come through the sound, let us know. Right now, my sister's watching. Stephanie, shout out to her. And Angela, shout out to you as well. We're not live on the podcast yet. We have 7 minutes still. They said he can hear us just fine, at least through this microphone, so that's good. For whatever reason, this one's not working. We're inside his office. We don't want to disclose the location for their privacy, but this is where he works at. Not far from the house. By the way, this is William. So now you get a face to the sound of the noise. We got two.
Hey, y'all.
Angela, who's also
6
a contactee.
minutes until showtime.
She has a lot of extraterrestrial contactee stuff going on. It's really cool.
Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you guys for joining us. She says hi. Should be an interesting show tonight. We've got about 5 minutes before we start. Can you see us clear enough too? It's supposed to be a pretty nice camera, so hopefully they can.
Mm-hmm. No, your device here stopped. That had to be something.
Yeah, if it was the mic, it'd be consistently going off.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so we're getting some EMF spikes. For you guys who don't know, that's what this. You see the microphone setting it off. Well, it was. Maybe the battery's getting.
Maybe your phone set it off.
My watch could be setting it off, actually.
5 minutes until showtime.
Wow.
And that's weird. It could be the combination of everything going off at the same time.
It could be.
But still,
I'm starting to get chilled a little bit.
Wow.
It went green, yellow.
Consistently.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, and tonight's show, by the way, Stephanie's asking. That's my sister again. We're just going to be talking more about, the spirit world and, what he can do as a medium if he's picking anything up. He's also going to talk about protection against certain things as well. We'll get to that once the show starts in about 4.5 minutes. If you're in the background noise, there's something going on next door, so just ignore it. They'll probably pick that
4
up.
minutes until showtime.
You have to have something like right here in front of you.
Anybody see that on the camera there? I can always play it back later once it's done recording.
That was cool. It came right behind you and went right toward the amistris there.
Like an orb or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly what it was.
Oh, and Angela, no, you didn't. I didn't see that about the bite marks on your arm. That's not good.
You're still getting a sight.
We got that, plus you saw something just now, so we got some activity.
I'm hoping I hear something, with all that going on.
It'd be nice.
$3
minutes until showtime.
And the end of last week, my energy was down. I don't know if that could have something to do with, but no one's been able to hear anything or even detect. I mean, tonight's the most energy that's here, and it's since we've been here.
Maybe they know we want to do the show.
When I got here, there was no energy here at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you felt that when you walked in.
Yeah.
And
compared to the last time I was here.
Yes. And I feel like the energy has picked up.
So yeah, I got that picture of that bite mark on your arm. When did that happen? I'll show you. You see it?
Oh, wow.
2 minutes until showtime.
Hmm.
2 days ago. Wow. You think it was a spirit or something, or any ideas? They said it appeared in the middle of the day. It's hard to say, but yeah, that's definitely, it's like teeth marks.
It sure it does, and it looks like it's sideways.
Like maybe a bit like in this direction.
Mm-hmm. But I can see the bruising towards the middle of the arm.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right. But the teeth marks are up.
Looks like it didn't break the skin, but you can see the imprints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that picture. That's interesting. All right, so we got about a minute and a half once the show starts. I won't be paying as much attention to the YouTube as I will be during the show. So if I don't
1
catch the chat,
minute
I
until
apologize in
showtime.
advance. I'll try and go back and forth between them. Less than a minute, guys. Are you listening to the show as well, or just to YouTube? Either way is fine. You're going to get the same either way, because what we talk here is going to come be on the podcast too. So it doesn't really matter which one you're listening to. Although for the radio show, it'll be a bit better for listeners. 30 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Log Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Paranormal Truth Seekers. I'm Ricky, your host for this evening. Welcome back, my returning listeners. If it's your first time tuning in, please click that follow button. Feel free to enter the live chat and talk with us there. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, guys, thanks for joining us this evening. Like the intro said, this is Ricky. I'm here with my guest, William, tonight. And we're going to have a great show tonight, so let's enjoy it. We're going to dive right on in. So how's it going tonight, William?
Going great. Very good. How are you?
I'm good. I've been looking forward to doing this for a while. These shows are always fun for me. I've enjoyed it. We should have some good listeners, hopefully a good audience tonight. We got a lot to discuss and an hour to talk about it.
Yes,
So
we do.
let's dive on in. What do you got for us?
Well, I love sharing truth, and I will say that when I first got here, there was no energy in this room, and I think you felt the same when you arrived. And now, since you've got everything hooked up and set up, it feels like more energy has come into this place. One of the topics I wanted to talk about tonight is of spirit protection.
Mm-hmm.
And as a medium, I've learned that we can be attacked several different ways and not realize it. And it's always best to make sure that whenever we go into a situation where there could be a haunting, there could be, you may not know exactly what it is or what's going on in a home, but you need the prayer of protection. There are different stones that I always have with me. The hematite, black obsidian, are very good stones for protection and for energies. I carry salt. Salt is a good way to protect yourself. I discreetly carry it in my pocket with me. And it's an easy thing to put, if you have something you're not sure about around your home, it's a good thing to put around windows and doors, openings in your home. I've walked into a situation before where I was taught into going somewhere and volunteered to help someone. And lo and behold, there was a not so good spirit in the home, and I happened to release it by accident. and I had not done the proper protection for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And for about a 2-week time, I had difficulty with a demon, attack.
Mm.
And so I always, before I do anything, before and after, there's a prayer involved, and there's always pre-protection going on before I go into a situation.
Okay, so you use both physical and spiritual protection then.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They said you were attacked before. What happened in that situation?
That situation was, we were informed that there was a spirit in the home. We were given access to the home. Apparently, the girlfriend of this guy would not come into his home because of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, not knowing myself any information, which was not a good idea to go
Right.
into to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Went in there trying to find the spirit and remove it from the home. Well, we go in and I'm with a friend of mine and we don't, find anything. And then I got a reading or inclination that the stereo, something to do with the stereo.
Mm-hmm.
And without protecting myself, I used a pendulum trying to pick up energy. And once I did that, I released that thing.
Hmm.
After the fact, I found out that stereo had been in a fire up in Michigan. It had been moved down here to Georgia.
Yeah.
But it was involved in a trailer fire up in Michigan where 2 people died.
Hmm.
So, a lot of what we do is trial and error. That was a big error on my part that I won't ever do again.
Mm-hmm.
And I advise anyone that if you're working with a pendulum, what I refer to as a spirit board, there be a prayer prior to going in, a prayer as you complete what you're doing.
Right. When you say spirit board, is that the same as a Ouija board kind of?
Yes, same as I just refer to it different. People think the Ouija board is bad and they hear that name. So I just, if I used it, it's because I'm having trouble communicating.
Yeah.
And I may have a question and I will use it to communicate with my guides. And, just as I hear ones in spirit, I don't know, for sure who I'm speaking with. There again, I trust ones that do come through, that
Mm-hmm.
they're only good spirits, only good things come through that board I use.
Mm.
And it's for helping others. Just like any tool of the, spiritual or a gun, it depends on the intention of the user.
Yeah.
People that set out and they want to try to talk to a spirit, they don't know who they're talking. I don't advise that whatsoever. And I don't advise doing it with the wrong intent.
Yeah.
Everything that you do, regards of the spirit world, you do with respect and you do with good intentions.
I've heard that too. People do say, I say Ouija board 'cause that's how I know it, that it is dangerous unless you know how to use it. In your case, it seems you do with the protection and such like that. So I guess in that scenario, it would be a good tool to use. Maybe if I can learn how to protect myself better, I can start using one of my stuff as well.
There's nothing wrong with them. Like I go back to the intent and what it is you're trying to do. My preferred method is my physical hearing,
Mm-hmm.
which is a strong gift. I actually had a spirit that would not communicate with me that way. I had to go through the spirit board to communicate. And once he started talking with me, I asked, will you physically talk to me? That's my preferred method.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. I put the spirit board down and we communicated physically that way. And eventually that was a crossing over that I was able to do.
I think it was a trust issue, or is that why he would want to do it at
Yeah.
first?
Well, think about it. A lot of people are one in spirit. They've never spoken with anybody before,
Yeah.
or they've never had anyone that can hear me or hear them, is what I should say.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all new to them. They're a lot of times I get, you can hear me, in the form of a question, like how,
hmm
is this possible? Because
Everybody else is ignoring me, but you're hearing me.
right,
Like, what's wrong with you? How can you do that?
yeah,
So they can be skeptical. Well, that makes a lot of sense too.
yeah, because it's just as a lot of it is new to myself, it's new to them as well. And then too, you know, it's so like coming up to a stranger you don't know, and you don't know if you should trust them or not.
Yeah, you got to earn that trust first, and I guess through the spirit board you did,
Oh, yeah,
and
right.
then he'd agree to talk to you physically. So
Yeah, some
okay.
of them, would prefer the spirit board because it's not a direct
Mhm.
physical communication, so to say.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So like spirit boards are basically a homemade version of what they call the Ouija board, which is actually made for kids, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, it was started out as a kids game and was pushed that way, and you know over time everybody got scared of it, and there is reason you can do bad things if that is what your intention is.
Right.
But if you look at it from the standpoint is of what is the intent of what you're trying to do,
hmm
you can get good from that.
So that's a good thing you brought up. If you're messing with those boards, learn how to protect yourself first, and go back into protection. What else do you want to share about that?
Just absolutely. Anything to do with the spirit world, I'll reiterate, you know, they deserve our respect,
Yeah.
and we should always, in our trying to communicate with them, show that respect to them,
hmm
and they appreciate that. And I've in my communication with ones, I'd say thank you for coming in or thank you for sharing, and I get feedback like you're welcome or I love you or just you never know what they're going to come back with. They appreciate
Yeah, they were human once too. They're just basically people without bodies.
That's correct. Yeah. So whatever you do, dealing with spirits, if it's pendulum work, picking up energy, going to old homes, and you're investigating. Surround yourself with protection and others around you as well.
Definitely a good thing to do. And like you mentioned, salt, which is considered a very pure type
Yeah.
of mineral, so it blocks negative energy from crossing over.
Right.
Oddly enough, one of my favorite shows, Supernatural, it comes on TV. Like these two brothers that go out and do ghost hunts, or they fight demons and spirits or whatever. One of their biggest weapons is salt, and they would, block the window sills, door sills, and all that.
No, they
to keep them
can't
out.
come through with that element,
hmm
placed, where it is,
hmm
and around the building that we're in tonight. There's twice a year we'll put salt out and make sure that whatever comes in here is not bad and go. I don't deal with evil spirits.
Yeah,
Other than to help ones cross over and get away from ones like that. But stay away. Don't invite them because there is good and there is evil.
there is
And
good, evil, there's neutral, all spectrums exist out
and
there.
you need to know what you're doing first and foremost before you get involved with anything like that.
If you get into the wrong thing, get it over your head, and it's too late to get out of it.
Right. Myself, as a media, if they don't They don't like us. They know that, we can do things with them as far as cast them off and what have you. They stay away until they feel like they can come in. It's sort of like a surprise thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been in places, they don't attack you right there. It's so like they're going to wait and catch you off guard and do it, that they can.
Based on your experience with demons and negative entities, what is their intent? What are they trying to do?
They, most of the ones that I have come across are ones where I have crossed over spirits that they were holding in places, and they would come in mad, wondering to know where their captives were. And but I've had that, and then I've had ones that would deliver threats to not return to a home, not return to a particular location, or it would be bad.
Now you say the captivity of other spirits. Are they feeding on their energy, or is it a power thing or a control thing?
Power control. You don't know what they were like in the time that they were alive. Don't know what they did. A lot of them are bad. They've done something wrong. They feel like they can't move on. And that being said, they trap others and keep them here. So that they can't move. It's a domination thing.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So basically, like angels and demons, people compare the two.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges, like
right.
And they say demons were never actually human. Other people say they were, and over time became demonic. What's your say on that?
Oh boy. You hear about the fallen angels out of heaven. There are a lot of those that are here. There's certain times during the year where they go rampant, and you see people that do things they wouldn't normally do. It could be that they're being attacked by these things and don't realize it. Because we don't. A lot of people don't know they're here. They are. We want to do everything we can to be aware and stay away from these things so that they don't come and enter our lives and what we do. If they were a abuser of, say, drugs and alcohol in their lifetime, and they come back into a home, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
They're looking for ones that have the similar, that have done similar things that they did, when they were living, and they feed off of that environment.
So it's the energy they're feeding off.
Right.
That is a similar environment when they were alive.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I was invited to go on an investigation, and it was suspected that there was a demon there. And I had picked up one that had committed suicide in the front part of the home, drugs involved. Didn't know, those were the details that I had picked up on at a medium. And I walked into the home, and I was able to tell the person that was recording me as I do a walkthrough that this is where it happened, male, and went on. And I walked out of the house, and I said, there's drug activity here in the house. And lo and behold, situation you don't like being right.
Yeah.
But
interesting. So let's say they got rid of the drug activity. Would it then leave without the energy?
Yeah. If they were to, my advice to that family in that case was to leave that home. burn it, send it back to the earth, because you don't want to be around it. It's not going to leave. Now, I do believe that if one were to change their ways, that, okay, they're going to move on. Right. And they're going to go find someone else that are doing the same type of things. So they can feed off of them and aggravate that family.
Is that what you would call a psychic vampire?
Yes. Okay. Yes, correct. And that was exactly what this case was. I knew when I did the first thing I did when I got to that home, I did a walkthrough around the home, and I picked up a grandparent, a guardian angel, or a spirit guide, is a better word, around the home. And on the outside, it was like it couldn't go in, but it was protecting the children in the home. And once I got into the home, I knew exactly why it was, why that relative spirit was there and what they were doing.
So were they being blocked from going into the house by the negative entity?
Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of times they can't, I don't know exactly how all this works, but a lot of times, like, my guides would come to me in cases where a demon was holding, say, 12 or 13 souls. Yeah. And they, have tried to free these souls and, get them to cross over. And for whatever reason, they couldn't do it without calling on me for my help and my intervening in getting them to cross over.
Yeah. It's kind of the way it sounds that the negative entity actually has more power than they do to keep them outside, but they can't even come in and help them out. So they have to go and get other sources of
right,
like the mediums, right, for example, would do.
Now, ones that have crossed over and come back, they're very, very, very powerful, and they're powerful in numbers.
In numbers, right? Like people, like the power of prayer, for example. The biggest one I've heard is when they called upon the archangels for help.
Right.
Like the Archangel Michael, which I guess is the strongest archangel.
Oh, I wear a necklace, Archangel Michael, as
nice.
Another form of protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you find, going back to protection, you find what works for you and what you feel comfortable with. And then there's the prayer, and I keep it in my wallet. It's a little card, and it goes through, if you're in a time where you're being attacked and you need the Archmichael to come in and help with the situation, you pray that prayer.
Yeah. Okay. Now, is there a specific situation you'd want him over others, or what does it matter?
It's like everything is different, or every situation is different. That was the main, that was the big one there, for, going in and seeing a home, knowing someone had taken their life there, and knowing what was going on in the house. Yeah, that was just totally different.
Okay.
Than anything I've done. And then that demon the next day came back and visited me here at this location and gave me a warning not to go back. I already knew I wasn't going back. I had told the investigator that I had gone with. I said, I can't go back because he doesn't want me there, and it could be bad for me, or it could be bad for the family, and I don't want to do anything. I've gone in and I've told you what I know and what's going on there. If the family's not going to listen or seek help, which we were trying to give them, there's nothing there's nothing more we can do. You
Yeah.
know, we've done our job or what we were asked to do.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
I have so many questions basically about this whole stuff. I guess we can start with this now. Comparing like physical protection against
Right.
spiritual protection, which would be more beneficial or which is more powerful?
I would say more the physical aspect.
Okay.
Okay, because you can be attacked, not know what's coming,
Mm,
and I've seen people with scratch marks on their arm and all different things going on, and sooner or later, if you don't get out of this, if you're in a situation like that, I advise you get out
yeah.
because it's not worth what could happen. I've heard of fires being started in homes.
Mm,
Um, I've heard of, you know, scratch marks on the back, scratch marks on the leg, in, kids being tortured.
mm.
It's not worth it, and you get out of those unwanted situations.
That scratching, for example, when they say people who get scratch marks and they have to scratch it in threes, that
Right.
is demonic, that is mocking the Holy Trinity.
Yes, that's what that is.
So that's basically, if you get scratched in that situation and it matches that description, it's more than likely demonic.
Right.
And that's when you probably want to go into, the power of prayer against something like that.
You definitely, it's time to bring someone in that will go room to room and say prayer, get the salt out, get vinegar, another source you can put out in a room. That helps. If a child is experiencing, say they have something they say is in their room, you don't know,
Yeah.
put a little cup of vinegar on their night table.
Hmm.
Put a little saucer of salt, and maybe something there may not, but make the child feel better. Knowing that protection is there, and if something were to, it, nothing gonna happen. They're gonna be okay.
I've got an interesting message from Angela here. She said her house burnt down in Christmas of 2016, shortly after her brother's ashes were delivered unexpectedly to her house.
Yeah.
So I guess, Angela, are you saying that the house burned down after you got those ashes? While we wait, we can continue here as I go.
Yeah, I did have a situation a couple of months ago with a lady in a farmhouse. She collects rugs and sells them, and she encountered a spirit that had not been there before and wasn't sure what was going on. Had sent me some photos to look at. I was able to see, what was there and advise her. Um, Ended up releasing friends. There were spirits there that were traveling, a bunch of, I think maybe 12 that we eventually ended up crossing. I had a spirit guide help me with this. And anytime that I get involved with something like that, you don't want to tick the spirit or demon off because you don't know what they're going to do to that homeowner. There are situations where I know I can't go on that property. I can try to do what I can from where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were to set foot on that property, things might happen in a negative way for the family living there.
Mm. And
you don't want to mess around with that.
No, definitely not. All right, so Angela gave us an update here. She said that the ashes were at her dad's house, but he was having weird stuff happening at his house. So we sent her brother's houses to her, and I guess that's when the house burned down. She's saying that something was attached to the ashes, but it wasn't him. Have you ever heard something like that?
Yeah, I've heard of things happening within families. Maybe I don't know if this is related or not, but demons like will be upset with one person, but maybe that person is their self-protected and they can't touch that individual.
Right.
So they're going to go to a loved one, like a dad's home, and mysteriously it gets burned down. So that, wow.
Just so you guys know, we're getting some pretty good, strong EMF readings in here while we're sitting here. It's been happening consistently since we started.
Yeah,
basically.
it has been. And those are spirits. I've not heard anything yet, but those are ones that are curious as to what we're doing. And they're just sitting back and watching what we're doing. So they're just curious spirits that are visiting with us tonight.
That makes a good start to the next topic. Now you're saying it's been quiet lately.
It has been.
Because something may be happening that we might.
Like the last 2 weeks, we were here 2 weeks ago. And there was something that happened before the show. And I don't know that it's related or not, but I will say ever since we did that show, there's been no activity whatsoever. This place, I've been here 4 years now, and the energy here is like me going to my home. There's nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that is not of the norm.
Right.
A lot of things going on right now. I feel like the spirit guides and ones that have been here, they're out doing work that they can't tell us what they're doing, or it's so advanced and beyond our understanding that we wouldn't understand if they were to tell us.
Yes. Right. Exactly. Because life over there, you can't even compare it to here. Who knows?
They work over there just like we work here.
Mm-hmm.
They have duties and things they have to do. And I know when I receive messages, and I know it's a guide because they'll come in. The conversation is never like 2.5, 3 minutes tops. And as soon as they know that the message is heard and understood, they're gone elsewhere. So
Right.
they have other people to, get messages to.
Mm-hmm.
By no means do I think I'm the only one that would receive messages, coming from spirit, and they have responsibilities just like anyone else. They're given instructions. We need and they our lead guys. They have helpers.
Yeah.
So they have helpers that a lot of times will come in and deliver messages.
It reminds me of the movie. One of my favorite movies actually is called "What Dreams Become" with Robin Williams.
Right.
We talk about they got go out and do work and stuff like that as well. And it actually lines up with what you're talking about too. And even years ago, after my grandfather passed, I dreamt. He told me he had to go to work, so he didn't have much time to talk to me. And this is after he passed. So there is stuff to do in the afterlife. So.
Yeah, all the time. Now I do believe that if they sat on the porch and listened to birds at an older age, but they could be doing that some where they are now. If they love to fish, they're probably on a pond, fishing hole, putting a line in the water. But there's also assignments that they have to do to help us here.
Right. Now, would you consider it a specialty over there, or is it something everybody over there does?
I think everybody does. I think that there's training, there's advancement, because I've asked one before, and I've asked just not knowing it'd be a new spirit come in. I get different names all the time, and I asked him, "Are you a spirit guide?" and I'll get like not yet or in training.
They say training specifically?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought, well, that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
You know, that ones would say that. And when I put questions out there, I never know what I'm going to get back. You know, so I'm like, well, they're speaking truth.
Yeah.
You know, because why would you say, you know, make something like that up? But I'm in training or not yet.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. It makes you wonder, how long is the training process? What did they go through?
I don't know.
Did they have to be certain criteria before they could become guides? Or?
I had one that I crossed over 6 months ago, and the very next day, she came back and said she was coming back to help me. I'm like, okay, that was fast. And then I've had others, it might be 6 months. So, you know, I just take the bits and pieces that I receive, put them in the back of my mind, and try to figure things out as I go, as far as what they experience over their, you know, time in their work. There is no time. It's
That's what I was going to say. Earth time.
right.
And Josh actually is on. You're watching this now. You know, you've talked about him before. He's got a question for you. He wants to know: have you ever accidentally channeled a negative source when asking questions to a spirit?
No, I have not.
That's good.
Yeah, because I have had a what I call a trickster, and she would say like my William Glenn, or you know, when they come to me at first, now it's like I pick them up before they call my name, and you know, normally I get William, and this one in particular would say, you know, first and last name. And I'm like, this is weird, this is different. And she'd talk about 15 minutes at a time, and which is not normal.
Right.
Your guide, I said 2.5, 3 minutes tops, and you know, that's what they do.
To the point.
Right. So I've learned if, you know, trickster or not. Another part of that question there is I don't think I channel them in. It's like they do come to me. I'll be doing, you know, everyday work here at the office, and I'll hear one call my name. Now, I have called in my spirit guides from time to time, and they've come in just like that. And I was, you know, astonished because I didn't know if I was able to do that or not. But, you know, that I don't call in one because I don't know what I'm going to get. If I were to call one in, it's definitely going to be one of my higher guides.
Okay. And William also says most people have multiple guides, different levels. Like there could be leads, you know, or higher supervisor level guides, lower level guides, training levels. And we have all of those. You
know, I've read books, and I advise ones that are interested in this subject. You know, don't try to reinvent the wheel. There's others that have gone through this before. There's a lot of good authors, good mediums out there that have been through this. And there are a lot of good, you know, good information that they share. I think the better psychics are the ones that are open to sharing with others and helping them to develop.
Not the ones that are charging you money per hour for over the phone.
Right.
Those kinds.
Right. You know, ones that are open to crossing spirits over, helping people get a spirit out of the home or answering questions. You know, those are the ones to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And that will be most beneficial to you.
Well, I know you was also saying it could be quiet because they're busy on the other side because something could be about to happen, something big.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, there's wars up in the spirit world. There's the fighting with the angel demons there,
Hmm.
and could be things that are happening here in respect to us, and they're protecting us. So a lot of time where there's this lull in spirit activity or communication, I will say that I can think, well, they're on assignment. There's always ones around us. There's always going to be a helper, guide, someone there looking out for us.
Hmm.
But when the main ones are not around, you can bet they're out doing something on our behalf, trying to make or turn a negative into a positive.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of that is going on right now.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of weeks ago I got the dates, the 9th through the 12th. I know that's a range. Something might be happening during that time. Most recently, I've gotten the date September the 20th through the 29th.
Hmm.
Just recently in a dream, I've gotten 22 and 26. So I'm really thinking, if I were to narrow it down to the dates I've been given, I'm looking for something to possibly happen the 22nd through the 26th. Now, that being said, a lot of times ones in spirit will fix whatever the issue is, and what they said might happen won't necessarily happen.
That it was fixed beforehand.
Right. Because a lot of time I get asked, well, you said this was going to happen on this day. I said, this is what I was told.
Hmm.
And ones in spirit are doing work on our behalf to change or fix or correct whatever that is to keep it from happening.
Hmm.
So they're just giving me advance warning in case they're not able to do what they're setting out to do.
Hmm.
But a lot of times they come through for us, and maybe what I was told upcoming, okay, maybe it won't happen, or maybe it'll be something really good.
Yeah.
We just don't know. And when we don't know, it's like we're in wait and see mode. Let's wait, and because there's nothing we can do about it one way or the other.
That's for sure.
It is nice to have information ahead of time, and I appreciate that. And when I get information like that, I like to put it out on my social media and in different groups,
Hmm.
Paranormal Truth Seeker
Yeah.
of the Unknown, and share it with our members that are there just to provide information.
Yeah.
And when I do that, it's not scary anybody. It's this could happen. Doesn't mean it will happen,
It could.
but yeah.
As far as, I don't want to say fortune telling, but like, what was your thoughts on Nostradamus being? Do you think he's legitimate soothsayer or fortune teller?
There's ones like I think they received messages
Mhm.
that came to them. I think everyone, if you pay attention and listen, a lot of it is we're so busy we don't pay attention nowadays.
Right.
And maybe we miss signs. Maybe we, spirits or past loved ones are trying to communicate with us, and we miss their signs or we don't hear them. I think different ones were given information, and I believe, he was one of, I know the guy, shoot, the name is slipping me right now. Edgar Casey.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The sleeping prophet.
Yeah, the sleeping prophet. And he would receive messages through dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think different people receive messages different ways. I
Makes
know
sense.
myself that with this lack of communication, my dreams have been more vivid at night.
Yeah.
And, the dates I just gave you, 22nd and 26, those numbers, not necessarily a calendar with dates, but those numbers came to me in a dream and they had significance to them. So I take that and I look at the whole picture and try to piece it together to where, okay, it makes sense. And then I feel like there are times like if I'm wrong on something, they'll let me know.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm right on what I'm picking up, there's no need for them to say anything. I don't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, okay, I'm on the right track here. Or they would do something and let me know that I was not.
It actually makes sense because, for example, somebody who loses their sight, their hearing improves. So in your case, with your abilities, if you're not getting anything physically verbal, you may instead get more vivid dreams to compensate for it.
Yeah, I think there's different ways that um, I think part of the communication issues that I'm having right now are the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is changed. The alignment of the planets
Mm-hmm.
has something to do with it. The frequencies are different. They're not able to. So what they do, they're very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they've tried to find ways to communicate that are not what we're used to.
Yeah.
Like if I cannot hear them and they're trying to communicate, they're going to find a way. Either it's through dreams, it's through this different sound. It could be a bird shows up.
Mm-hmm.
It
Symbolism.
right, a sign, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their way of trying to relay something to us, communicate with us, let us know they're still there,
Mm-hmm.
even though we can't pick them up like we could 2 weeks ago.
Talk about the frequencies changing. Like me and myself and a bunch of others we just feel something's off.
Yes.
Like I've always had this theory that the veil between realities are starting to thin and eventually may just disappear. You ever heard anything like that?
Yeah, it's something going on all around the world right now. A lot of people that I have talked to, because it's not just happening here. What's happening here is happening everywhere.
Yeah.
And different ones around the world are concerned because a lot of them have been doing this for a lot longer than I have. 30, 40 years. I'm in year 5 here.
Mm-hmm.
And they know something is off. And they're hard at work trying to see what they can figure out. So that I know more, I'll relay it. Right now, I don't, and there's ones that are, tracking this that have been doing this 30, 40 years. And it's all seems to be all new to them. I think it's an amazing time that to be alive and to be in this lifetime.
Yeah.
That we're experiencing things that no one has ever experienced before.
As we just said, the out there is merging with the here and now more than ever, which is kind of
Yeah, I think so. I think the worlds are coming together. I think a lot recently, I know something's going on because I feel like a lot of spirit souls here have crossed over.
Mm-hmm.
They're not here like they once were.
You mean like people who are trapped or just in general? Or?
Just in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes you wonder, is it going to be like a apocalyptic level, like where the new Earth's being created and the old Earth's being destroyed? And...
That could be a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. But it's, I think it's very interesting. I think more and more people, I know like your show, people are turning in, they're interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
They have had experience for themselves, or they know someone who has had experiences. And people are searching for answers.
Yeah.
And
Myself included.
And I really believe that the more things start happening, the more people are going to be reaching out and really want answers, and they're looking for truth.
The truth. That's what it's all about. Like me, I'm not psychic per se, but I guess you call it sensitive.
Yeah,
I just know things somehow or feel things.
right.
I've always felt that the end of the world will happen in my lifetime.
Mhm.
I strongly do believe that. So
We all have psychic abilities. We all do.
Mhm.
Some people choose to delve into it
Yeah.
and search that out. Some people choose not to, and that's fine. You know, everyone is different.
Different levels.
Right. Uh huh.
Like you're saying, some people could be good at one thing and not another, but we need to combine it, the whole puzzle into one big piece, and share the gifts as a whole. Look
Right.
at the bigger picture. Like me, being an empath and a sensitive, can do certain things that maybe you couldn't, for example, and you can do things, of course, that I can't.
Yeah. Everyone is different in that regard. And I think that's a great thing because I feel like we learn from each other.
Yeah.
Our existence here is all about love and learning to love one another and to take in this lifetime. That's why we're here, because we couldn't get this, in the spirit world, and we take it back with us. And another
Yeah.
point is that we don't remember things from past lives when we come here, and that's because we don't get confused what we've learned before and what we've learned in this lifetime.
I've also heard that too from Dolores Cannon, who's really good. That we don't bring over the memories because what would be the point then? We'd already know all the answers.
Right.
Like reincarnation and all of that. That's a whole different subject line, but it all fascinates me. Living more than one life, There's so much out there we can't even comprehend or even touch on. That
It
we don't
really,
even know of.
it really is.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a lot of, and I know I mentioned this last time we met, but a lot of times I'll talk to ones in spirit and ask them a question, or, where have y'all been, or what's going on? And I get the answer you wouldn't understand.
That fascinates me.
So, I figure, okay, I'm not supposed to know. If they were to tell me, I wouldn't understand if they told me anyway. So I just let it be. And I feel like when we're supposed to know,
Well, no.
they'll tell us. And we'll know.
It's like, I don't want to get to the religious concept, but like with Christianity, according to that, we only live one life and that's it. There's no
Right.
reincarnation. But to me, that doesn't make much sense. But I mean, I won't know until I know. But you got any thoughts on that?
No, I think there's a lot of things that are in the Bible, and like to steer away from things, but I won't go into this,
Right.
where I feel like, reincarnation is mentioned. A lot of people like to overlook it. I think a lot of people that have interpreted the Bible or have done it to fit their agenda.
Yeah.
And, I don't mean that bad, but I just knowing what I know, I know all this is possible. I know it's happened. I know what I have personally experienced.
Same.
And I, going back to reading books, I've read what others have said and what they've experienced. So it's not just, I'm not one to, oh, they said this, well, it must be true.
Right.
Or you look something up on Google, oh, it must be true.
Right.
I don't play that game. I don't do that. I take my own experiences and relate it to what I believe. And
that's the ultimate key is yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, it sort of makes sense. I've heard that, we come back families stay together. You're a family in one lifetime, but usually they come back
What a
in.
true soulmate is family, not so much a lover.
Right.
So if you've got friends in this lifetime, more than likely been friends in other lifetimes too.
Yeah.
And we've probably been friends in other lifetimes before.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we cross paths with people, and we're like, I know that person.
Mm-hmm.
Never met them in this lifetime. Somehow, some way, I have a connection with that person.
Mm-hmm. On a soul level.
And we can't pinpoint it, but I believe it goes back to we know that person from a previous life. And then I also can say I've been told by Spirit that what we call the old home place within my family, built back in 1850, it was a 2.5, 3-story home during the Civil War period. And I've crossed one over from that time. And some have come back as spirit guides, and they told me they knew me from back then. I lived in that house. Not in this lifetime.
That is interesting.
In a previous life, I'm like, wow, that is just so interesting, and it makes you want to, myself, I want to follow up on it. I want to delve into it, learn more, hear from others, what their experiences are, and then make my conclusions based on all the evidence.
There's so many questions. All right, so I'm going to give these guys an option. Now, as far as our stream goes, we got 5 minutes left.
Okay.
The YouTube can go on as long as we want to. Did you guys want us to keep on talking, or we do want to wrap up everything at once? I mean,
that's up to you. I'm glad.
You guys want to hear some more beyond what the show has, or you guys okay with us wrapping up here in a few minutes? Let us know. In the meantime, I want to get all I can out of you here. Like so many questions, for example, like when you die here and you go to the spirit world, do you just appear there, or do you already have a body that exists there waiting for you?
Well, I've again read this, having experienced this. We have a window once we pass. A lot of people will, or a lot of souls will stay and for their memorial or funeral,
Right.
and then they have certain time that they have that window to cross over. If you miss that window, then you have to rely on a medium like myself. You can go to a church, or I've heard, go to a cemetery, and there's portals there that you can go into and make that journey and cross over.
Are they always open, or do they just activate when you get there? Or do you have any information on that?
I don't know. I'm not definite on that. I do know that when one comes to me, I say a brief prayer on behalf of the soul that is about to cross.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Father God to accept their child into His kingdom at this time, and to help create the white light. I envision that white light, and it's like a vacuum, a vacuum tunnel that one will enter. And when they do that, they're greeted by their spirit guides, loved ones from the past. Our animals, pets will greet us as well. We'll see familiar faces.
Yeah.
So it's a great time.
What I'm going to do now is get ready to wrap up the show here at least. And then the YouTube is still going on. I just want to do a consistent ending with the live show here. For you guys listening here on the Blog Talk Radio, we're going to wrap up here. If you're watching through the live YouTube, we're going to go a little bit further out. Once again, I want to thank William here for joining me, being on the show here. Definitely be more shows in the future as well.
Definitely.
Lots to talk about. And coming up next week on Tuesday, I'll be with my buddy Josh again. We're going to dive in deeper with the same subject matter. But we're going to be talking about the Great Flood and how the Anunnaki were involved. After that, I don't have any official shows set up yet, but as I do, I'll be putting them on the my Facebook page, which is Paranormal Truth Seekers of the Unknown. Now, do you have any groups you want to shout out to?
Thank you all, everyone that has tuned in and listening to the podcast this evening. And I hope you have enjoyed the show, and I just wish blessings to all.
Great way to end it. So keep an eye out for the next upcoming announcement for the next shows. I'm going to wrap up here. Like I said, we'll still be on live on YouTube. For now, you guys have a great rest of your night, and thanks for tuning in. We're done here.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye. 90 seconds.
Already ended it. All right. So, my sister has a question.
Okay.
A lot of these pictures you're seeing now, where you got a picture of the sun,
Mm-hmm.
and you have another body beside the sun that people say could be lens flares, and some people say they can't be. I've seen pictures myself where lens flare moves around crazy.
Right.
But in some pictures, you see two big objects side by side. It doesn't move. And my sister wants to know if you have any information on that. Yeah.
When someone sends a picture to me, I'm seeing if I pick up energy, and I'm trying to tell, where that energy is, where it's coming from, because everybody that I see something here, or what is this? A lot of times it's maybe a reflection or camera flare, something of the light. Now, every now and then, I will say I've seen what is a spirit in that photo.
Mm-hmm. There's tons of those pictures out there. I've seen a few myself. I've taken a few myself too. But of course, the crown jewel is to get an actual full body apparition on camera, on video, which is the rare thing. It does happen, I guess. But
it does. It is a rare thing. They have to, ones have to have a lot of energy to manifest, to show themselves.
Yeah.
They have to be strong. If it's someone who has recently passed, they're not going to physically be able to do that. Ones that have been here for a while and are stronger, they can manifest energy to do so if they so choose.
Now, would that be what you would call an Earthbound Spirit, or
yes,
even a guardian angel?
Earthbound spirits.
Okay.
Now, angels and guides will not show themselves to us. Whatever their thing is, they won't do that. Your Earthbounds will.
Interestingly enough, that same show, Supernatural, you probably don't like it.
Right. Like when we're discussing, I try to avoid names of God, and the reason for doing that is they don't like their name being used.
I get that.
So out of going back to the respect issue,
and privacy,
right? They like their privacy, and like I said, I appreciate them coming around and the benefit that they are to me, and I'm going to respect their wishes. I will say I have two that you get to know them, main guides, or a main guide, and then one under him. When they come in, it's time to listen. They have a serious message.
So your main guide, business is getting real when they're the ones that come in.
Yes.
And if it's like a training one, that could be just some tidbit of information you should have, but it's not so much important.
Right. And normally, like the main guides recently, they're giving warnings, they're giving dates. They're like, this is about to happen. Be aware.
So a little more experience.
Right.
I would guess.
Yeah. No, but there are certain things they're not going to send a helper to do. They're coming in and delivering the message themselves. Also with guides, someone was asking me recently, how do I meet my guides? And there are different meditations you can use to go in and meet your guides. There are several good ones out there. Where I'm going with that is that but you may not always get a name. A lot of times you can make up a name. They don't care what you call it as long as you acknowledge them and respect them.
Mm-hmm.
When they want you to know their name, they'll tell you. So if you call a guide, say the name Jennifer, but her real name is Mary, she's going to, go by the name you're calling and respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But when she's ready for you to know her real name, she'll tell you.
And that's the name you're going to use there on out.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people do communicate with spirit guides openly, not even just mediums, but people who meditate, for example. Like me, have for whatever reason, I feel like there's a block
Mm-hmm.
keeping me from making that discussion. And even the last time when we tried to contact my spirit guide, you were told there was a reason that I'm not supposed to,
Yeah, a lot of times, we'll know, or I'll say this, they'll come to us at the right time.
Mm.
When they want us to know and they won't know, or they want to communicate with us, they'll come tell us. That doesn't mean they're always here with someone else.
Yeah.
And it may be a helper and not one to lead one, but someone is always here with us, protecting us. Ones that I really feel like, ones that are open, ones that are aware, because a lot of people are not aware.
Right.
Okay. Ones that are aware, we're protected more than the average person, I feel like.
Yeah, you got a bigger target in the bag for sure.
Yeah.
Against negatives and the demons and all that stuff.
Yeah. Because just what you said, me being out there in the public some, going on investigation, going into situations that may not be good. Well, we better be protected because there's evil out there and it's not going to be nice to you.
Yeah, not at all. Now you mentioned earlier about the war on the other side.
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about that. You have any more information on what's going on?
I don't have a lot of information. I just know from time to time that our guides will not be. I don't think that's the case this time, but there have been times in the past where guides would be out for 2.5 weeks, and they're doing spiritual battle is what it is, up in the heavens.
Now, how would spiritual battle and say a physical battle? How would that differ? How would you fight spiritually, for example?
I'm not sure. I picture it as being a battle of good versus evil,
Mm-hmm.
and good always winning, and there being like war and conflict on the other side.
Yeah, you always see these, portraits of, like, for example, the Archangel Michael with a sword.
Yeah,
and that depicts they're physically fighting.
Right. Going into battle, I think there's something to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a physical battle
Like
that
even
they go through.
the second coming of Christ, for example, he's supposed to come back riding a horse with a flaming sword in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That depicts a physical war, like the
Yeah,
War of Armageddon.
I think a lot of that is symbolism, and it's worded this way, but I think we have to, we choose how we interpret it, as far as what that really means.
Of course, they were created by man. Those images, they want to show power, dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that'd be one way of doing it. But I just try to wonder, how would you even win a fight without fighting? Basically.
I'm not sure. I think a lot of times after they've had a battle there, that demons fall here, And I think that's a lot of times where we have the problems we have here,
Mhm.
dealing with war, dealing with destruction, dealing
Yeah.
with riots and violence.
But it seems to be getting worse.
Yeah, I believe that the demons, they're looking for a soul to occupy. They're looking for, and that is in our heart. You know, I do believe that ones that are believers in Christ, they that is filled, they cannot enter. But
Mm,
ones that have not accepted and don't believe,
mm,
there's an open space for there.
mm,
And I believe that demons will attack people and fill that void. Where
mm,
the Holy Spirit is not there, they'll occupy it. And then people that you wouldn't think would do something bad, next thing you know, you're seeing their name in the paper or on, on a
yeah,
news feed online, and you're
like
like,
Amityville Horror, for example, that whole story where the guy murdered his family and claimed to being possessed by demons.
yeah,
That's the reason why he killed his family.
yeah. And that's what, you know, demon possession
Mm.
is just that. They're filling that void that is not filled with the Holy Spirit.
Now, is possession more not so much that they're actually taking over, but they're just influencing you more, or did they actually take over your body?
Both.
So it's both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They can actually do, you hear, I've read this, you hear voices, telling you to do things, or they just take over and people say, I had no control. And honestly, they probably didn't.
Mm.
They don't understand it. No one can explain it.
Yeah.
Because they've never seen anything like that. It's I think a lot too goes back to um, the witch trials.
Oh, the Salem witch hunt. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And one saying that, you know, messages came to them and this and that, and one's like, no, that couldn't happen.
Mm.
And a lot of people lost their lives because people didn't believe them or want to believe them.
Yeah, they considered it the devil work, just because he could do things.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, in
And,
today's age, we're not quite that bad, but
and I assure you, I have no work, no use, for the devil or anything like that.
yeah,
Nothing demonic or when I first got involved with this. That was one of my things. I'm like, I want to know the truth.
yeah, same here.
And
And there's so much we don't even scratch the surface of what's going on out there.
right.
Like we're basically the dream compared to the real world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a little more vivid and lucid over there compared to here. We have no idea. There's colors that exist, sounds that exist that we can't even comprehend on this side of the world.
Right.
And that's the truth I'm looking for. Like, what is it like over there?
Yeah.
I guess maybe it's supposed to be a surprise, but
I think we'll go through this lifetime. We'll never have all the answers.
mm,
As much as we would like, and I wish I could say differently,
mm.
we're not going to have all the answers.
Oh yeah, there's no way.
But
If we get another piece of the puzzle, at least, though.
we'll have a little piece of puzzle, and we'll enjoy that journey as we seek the truth
Mm-hmm.
and share and help others.
I'm always having these revelations, these thoughts that come to me, things I've never been taught. I just kind of know them. Like I was talking to Josh earlier about people always ask, you know, who created God, but He's always been there, so nobody could have created Him. That we can't comprehend eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I try to mathematically solve it is basically time is a closed loop, and if God exists in that closed loop, then He can exist at the beginning and the end. So
Right.
He's always within that loop. And kind of our reality is trapped in that time loop. until we, die and go somewhere else or whatever.
Right.
So I guess scientifically, mathematically, I'm trying to also, find the truth.
Yeah. And I think going back to reincarnation, it's a continuous cycle
Hmm.
with each journey or each time we come in, we're going to learn something new. Because
Yep.
I know a lot of what my abilities have really, been doing this 4 years, going on 5. It's been whirlwind, very fast development.
Hmm.
And the only way I can explain that is I did this in another lifetime.
Yeah, we carried it over with you.
And it's carried over, and I'm being introduced to things like, oh, I've been there, done that.
Like I've had dreams that are so vivid. There's no way I could create it in my imagination. Like I had a dream once, so I called it dreams, but I guess experience is a better word. But
Yeah.
anyways, I was in like this ancient Asian war where we're fighting with swords because this is before guns and all that. But the dream was so vivid in details that in the dream, my emperor was killed by an assassin with an archer and hit with an arrow. And I had a lover in the dream who was a beautiful woman but blind. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, how could I create that scenario while I'm sleeping in this?
You're seeing things or things are coming to you you've never experienced before.
Hmm.
And there's no way you can create. So there's something to that.
Yeah, I think in previous life. Yeah.
Right. I think it's something that is someone wanting to show you, uh, God, family member, whomever,
Mhm.
but they're wanting to show you something from your past and not necessarily this lifetime.
And I've always wondered, like, what else have I done out there? I've had countless dreams where I've died in an elevator falling, and I'm thinking that's a past life.
It could be.
I have that dream all the time. I'll be in
Mhm.
an elevator and it just drops. And they say you always wake up right before you die. I don't. I die in a dream, but then I wake up later,
Oh, wow.
which I guess maybe is
Well,
real.
I know a couple of things. Well, I know that ones that have gifts like myself
Hmm.
have experienced a near death experience.
Hmm.
I don't recall one myself, but I've, different ones I have read about and have spoken to. That's a common trait with a lot of mediums, that near death experience.
It triggers their abilities. Some
Yeah,
trauma.
there's something there, there's something to that.
Yeah.
And I've also heard like birthmarks
Yep.
are a sign that, you know, that's how you, like,
It was
I've
the
got
fatal
one,
wound that kills you.
right. I've got one on my right hip.
I got one on my stomach here. It's faded over the years, but
Uh-huh.
it's my mom always thought it was dirt when I was a baby and tried to scrub it off, but it's just a little patch of darker
And
skin
it
right
was
here.
like a wound of how we died in a
Hmm.
previous life. I'm like, that's, I
Hmm.
believe there's something to that.
Yeah, the memory manifests over because you have what they call physical memory and spiritual memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like supposedly your subconscious remembers every lifetime, but you can't access it, and it's always there. You just don't know it's there,
Right.
and I guess it carries over certain reminders or things like that.
Yeah.
Like phobias are considered from previous lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're scared of something,
All right.
it's all very fascinating. It's just that's what we're trying to find out. Like, have you ever seen a reflection in a dream?
I've seen myself. Yeah. Just the other night. It's like I'm going to describe it as seeing like a movie
Hmm.
played in color,
Yeah.
and I'm hearing ones, seeing one. A lot of times, I'm seeing myself, and I'm speaking, and I know during the dream things would come to me that of events of real life that I can remember them and recall. Just recently, I'm in a dream. I'm in an old home, and I find a check on the floor, and it's dated 1926. And I've been in this home before, and I know because this has happened in real life. I've been in this home, and the latest or earliest I've found a check, 1930. Well, in the dream, I knew this.
Hmm.
So it's like, I'm living it out, but I'm also seeing it forward.
Hmm.
And then I saw like a wedding reception, and I'm there. I'm in a long sleeve shirt and a tie, and I physically see myself in a movie,
Hmm.
and my dad was in it. I saw him as well, and it's just strange.
Yeah.
The
dream world is.
I do about, if anyone out there had experiences like this, keep a dream journal. Keep a journal beside your bed, and if you wake up, make notes. Write down the date. You can go back and look at the phases of the moon and see, try to see if you pick up on anything. And also you can go back to those notes and remember, uh, you know, previous dreams.
I did something similar. I didn't write it down, but if I got up, I'd go type it on a computer. I have a lot of it saved, actually. I know my old group. I don't know if I put them on this new one yet.
No, that's a
No, it's not on here.
that's a good thing to do. When I first started all this, and I was experiencing the vivid dreams, I started out.
But most of mine are so vivid, I remember them in a way, not in detail over time. But there are dreams I've had when I was like maybe 7 years old. I can still remember now. It's like I remember once I had a dream that was. Some people did dream in black and white or in color. Like, I always dream in color. But as a kid, I had a dream one time that was animated. It was like a cartoon. It was like I was literally in a cartoon. And it was kind of like these, not Transformers, but kind of one of those old robot cartoons. But it was basically that in a dream. I still remember it. It was to this day, maybe 40 years later.
Well, I can see things in the dream from another time period. And the dream would be in color. I'm trying to make sense of it. How is this in color? The time period is
Black and white.
Yeah.
Well, even now they can take a lot of old footage. I've seen it. They can colorize it now.
Yeah, well, right.
It might be something similar because even then, even though it's being filmed in black and white, it was in color, real life, of course. But just seeing like something from the 1800s being played in like high definition today would blow your mind.
Right. Yeah.
Like a horse and carriage going down a dirt road, high definition, it would just be crazy. Like YouTube's a great tool, and it's always going to be there. Let's say in the year 2099, some kid can go on YouTube and look at music videos from 1980 and still watch it, even that far in the future. And a friend of mine, shout out to her, Lisa Swearington, she has a little boy now. Noticing the music, the kids ask her, "Is that from the 1900s?" It makes you feel old, like
Right.
To them, they only know the 2000s,
Right.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And for us, it's like a blink of an eye. But,
Yeah.
Like the 80s was only, you feel like 20 years ago, but it's actually 40 years back.
Right.
You just lose track of the time.
No, time just flies by now.
And for whatever reason, it feels like it's going faster. And I've always compared it to water going on the drain. When the water gets close to the end, it goes faster and faster. And it feels like time's doing the same thing.
I feel like it might be. The rotation of the Earth, and I think it might be a little bit faster. I'm not so sure. I've said for back in August, I felt like we're going to have an early fall. Now I think it's, close to being here sooner than normal.
Yeah. Then you get all these volcanoes and earthquakes, flooding all over the earth,
We've
basically.
had a lot of that going on.
Mm-hmm. It's not just getting worse and worse. Like I say, was it Pakistan? Basically, 1/3 of the entire country's underwater now.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And you got all these hurricanes hitting. Like even now, it seems like we get storms way more often than we used to.
Yeah.
The stronger ones too. Like I remember it always being cloudy outside in the summertime, but every night you see these horrendous clouds out there forming every single day. They wouldn't know it's that way. So yeah, times are definitely changing.
We've been lucky this year. We haven't had a major hurricane, but I think we're starting to get.
It's picking up,
Yeah.
especially with what they call climate change. The waters are getting warmer. The hotter the water, the stronger the storm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just going to keep getting worse and worse. Let's see what time it is. About 10:30. All right, so we're down to only one watcher now, so I guess everybody's starting to get ready to turn off for that. So we'll go ahead and wrap up here too then. So I'm going to go ahead and say thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. William, of course, on the show here.
I've enjoyed it. It's been great talking to you.
It's pretty cool doing the YouTube live thing too.
Absolutely.
Of course, I can't do it with my groups over the phone, so I can't do that without in person. Of course, I can. So we might try this again next time.
We'll do it.
All right, guys. So again, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping up here. I'll catch you guys on the next stream. If you missed it live, you can always catch it later. Good night.